Thanks so much, Emma. It's great to see these documents being released. We're really, really excited. So I hope everybody will download and share them because that's what they're for. And maybe you'll read them too, on the side. So for this session, we're talking about measurement and reporting. And so we're going to get some fantastic case studies from two organizations. The driving force behind social procurement is the desire to create communities that are rich in economic, social, physical, cultural, and human capital. We want to contribute to make our communities and the planet happier and healthier so that everyone can thrive. But how can we know if we are contributing to our goals? That is where measurement enters and needs to be a key part of a robust social procurement practice. We need to measure outcomes and share the results in an open way so that we can celebrate successes and know when we need to make changes in order to improve. So in this section, we're going to get to hear from two purchasers. One is public and one is private, and they're each taking this critical step towards incorporating deeper measurement of outcomes across their social and sustainable procurement programs. So first, we're going to be hearing from Hieu Lam from the city of Edmonton. So Hieu will magically pop on stage now. Great. Welcome, Hieu. Hieu, great to see you. It'd be fantastic for you to introduce yourself and to share with the audience here a little bit about your sustainable procurement work at the city of Edmonton and your focus on reporting and measurement.
Sure. First of all, thanks, Tori. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me here today. My name is Hieu Lam, and I am the Sustainable Supply Chain Lead for the City of Edmonton. To provide a little bit of a background with sustainable procurement here at the City of Edmonton, City Council approved our first sustainable procurement policy back in 2019. During that time, it only included three guiding principles of ethical standards, environmental sustainability, and social value considerations. The approval of this policy spurred the first iteration, I guess, of our sustainable procurement program. This first iteration really only included the application of sustainable evaluation criteria in RFPs. We took the policy actually back to City Council last year in 2022. The policy was then amended to now include Indigenous procurement as a guiding principle. This obviously now meant that Indigenous criteria would be introduced as part of our sustainable procurement programming. Not only did the amendment to the policy mean the introduction of Indigenous content, but it also triggered city administration to provide more emphasis on launching a full, comprehensive, sustainable procurement program. Informing that comprehensive program, the city has been working on developing a variety of new tools and procedures, such as more enhanced procurement evaluation criteria. We plan on introducing contractual obligations. We're currently going under a CBA design. We're looking to launch Indigenous set-asides, and of course, we're looking to enhance our measurement and reporting frameworks. So um, measurement and reporting here at the city, in consideration of such a effort to launch a comprehensive program, is very important to us. It's important for us to understand whether some of the new tools and processes that we're launching under this program actually meet the intent that we're intending for these tools and processes to meet. Currently at the City of Edmonton, we're tracking things like diversity spend, so the total amount of money we're spending with companies identifying as diversely owned. We're currently tracking total number of procurements that include sustainable criteria. And then the third and major measurement and reporting that we're tracking is the local spend. So, how much money are we actually spending locally? Um, Going forward, we'll need to create a framework to kind of coordinate with the menu of new tools and processes currently in development. Understanding the effectiveness of these tools and processes will aid the city in determining how to progress our programming. For example, as the implementation of contractual obligations and CBAs proceed, we'll need to understand whether contractors are actually complying with their obligations, as well as whether contractors are meeting the targets included in CBAs. Also, as we enhance the evaluation criteria using our RFPs, it's important for us to understand whether those bids that score well on sustainable criteria are actually successful in achieving overall contract awards, Or are companies who don't score well in sustainable criteria still able to achieve contract awards, and how frequently? So being able to measure and report on these scenarios will help us aid in adjusting evaluation criteria or adjust the criteria actually being applied. So another tool that we're launching here is at the city we consider low value purchases any purchase which is $25,000 or less. Low value purchases aren't processed by the city's centralized procurement team. Business areas are actually free to process these purchases on their own without any involvement from the centralized procurement team. So as you can imagine, there's less oversight for these type of purchases. Working with BiSocial, they have actually designed a sustainable low value purchase guideline, which provides some direction to how these low value purchases can actually incorporate various sustainable elements. As difficult as it will be, developing a measurement and reporting framework to track low value purchases, it'll be critical for us to understand whether these guidelines are actually being followed.
Yeah.
Um, if statistics show that the guideline is not being applied, then it'll prompt us to increase the promotion and training of the guidelines. So,
For sure. That's fantastic, Hugh. So much work being done. I think it's incredible that, the city of Edmonton has already had sustainable procurement and policy, but now you're looking to go further and you're making measurement and reporting a key part of that. So congrats, and I'm excited to continue working together and seeing what we're able to measure, and how that will be reported moving forward. So thank you so much.
awesome. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to invite to the stage Nicole, from Chandos Construction. Nicole, if you'd like to introduce yourself and share with us the work that Chandos has been doing on measurement and reporting.
Great, thanks, Tori. I just getting my slides set up here.
They look good.
You can see those. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Great to be here with you today. I'm Nicole Monaco. I'm the Director of Marketing Communications with Chandos Construction. And in my role, I work a lot on our purpose and our social impact initiatives, and I get to work with the team at BiSocial Canada, which is wonderful. And I'm just going to share a little bit here about our measurement and reporting journey. So back in 2020, Chandos committed to shifting 5% of its addressable spend to impact organizations. I'm just going to put my timer on here. And we did this in partnership with BiSocial Canada as a pledge champion. And what we very quickly realized is, first we need to be very clear about what this means. And so we defined, what does impact organization mean? What does addressable spend mean? Really aligning ourselves internally, but also externally, so that we're very clear to the market what our intentions are. So these are the definitions that we came up with. And then once we had determined what we were actually doing, we realized that we needed to understand the data behind our intentions and our efforts. And so without that data, it'd be very hard for us to really understand what we're doing in terms of meeting that pledge by 2025. We decided that as an organization, we didn't have the capacity internally to do that measurement. So we decided to partner with a third party to help us identify our vendors, our impact organizations, and our spend related to our goals and our project. And so we looked out into the market and found an organization called Social Awareness Group that has a product called Nisto, and we engaged with them to determine if they can meet our needs. And we've been working lock and step with them. This is a new space, a new area, and we're really pleased with what we're able to achieve. So on the social procurement side, we can look at project level reporting, we can look at district level roll-ups, and we can also look at our entire enterprise through the system. We can also track Indigenous procurement. We can track other equity deserving businesses that we are buying from, and we can track social enterprises and other impact organizations, as well as local spend. And Nisto also offers a diverse workforce tool, which we find very helpful. We have commitments to, as a company, we are committed to having our workforce reflect Canadian society, and we're working towards that. And again, as with social procurement, really understanding your data, your numbers, where you're at is going to help us achieve our goals. And so we've also engaged with them on that tool as well. And we find often that when we're working on social procurement agreements with owners, often the diverse workforce is a key part of the CBAs. And so that was something that was important to us. This is just a quick snapshot of what the tool looks like. So this is a project level view. So you can see the expenses at the top, and then you can see where we're meeting our social procurement 5% on this project. We've actually exceeded it, which is excellent. And in this case, most of our spend is coming from certified Indigenous owned suppliers. The tool also does, just thinking of the last conversation, the tool also tracks self-identified self-attestation. So it considers that, and it also tracks it, which is great. And I think one of the things that we learned very quickly here is that once we started tracking at the project level, we were finding there were vendors that we were sure would qualify under our definition, but weren't showing up. And so we realized that there's a lot of work to do to identify vendors. This is a brand new part of the tool. It's called a marketplace, where we are planning on working with our vendors to ask them to fill out the survey that would allow us to identify them in the system. This is Chandos's profile. It's very, very new. Nisto's just working on launching it. So this is really important for us because we are quite sure that already within our supply chain, there are many diverse owned businesses as well as social impact organizations. And I just want to quickly, I'm running out of time here, but I do want to show that in addition to what we're doing, so we're tracking this data on Nisto, but we're also asking our project teams to pull it forward and bring it into their monthly forecast report. So you can see here, it's a little bit small, but you can see in green, I've highlighted how we've added social procurement onto this monthly report and asked project managers to go into Nisto and to put in the amount of dollars that they are spending on social procurement. So it's becoming part of our operational conversations, and that's really important as we're working to roll this out. So also, just thinking of what Emma shared around external reporting, we are launching an external dashboard in the coming months where we will transparently report on our spending for social procurement. And you know, this, I think, is something so important. We want to hold ourselves accountable. We want to signal to the market that, hey, we might be off track, but we're tracking and we're working hard to do better. And we're really excited about this.
Wow, Nicole,
that's all I got.
That's incredible. I think it's absolutely amazing the work that Chandos is doing. And thank you so much for sharing with everybody today. It's really inspiring, and hopefully others can learn from this hard work and dedication that you put into measurement and reporting. So we're almost at time, but I want to hear a takeaway from each of you. What advice would you give to organizations looking to deepen their reporting and measurement practice? Hieu, why don't you kick us off?
My first piece of advice, and probably fairly obvious to anyone who's probably tried to embark on developing framework for measurement reporting, is to take inventory of the systems you already have in place and what you can do to take advantage of those. Tracking some of the statistics that come out of sustainable procurement programming is not the easiest to do. So you want to really utilize whatever systems you have in place, and at the very least inventory and explore the capabilities before you look to invest in developing a system that might take a little more amount of money and resource. So I think for us that was the biggest learning experience, was that if within our systems we could probably find a lot of the data we were already looking for as long as we did appropriate mining. So I think that's probably the biggest takeaway for us.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. And Nicole, what about you? Any advice?
Yeah, I think know your limitations, I think, is one thing I would strongly suggest, and bring the right voices to the table, right? Like, systems is tough. You need to have all of the right partners, internal partners, whether that's finance, IT, those folks like leading the work in the community. And I think we spent quite a lot of time really just talking about what we wanted, how we wanted to report. And so really doing that work to kind of set up the vision for the dashboard and the reporting is so key, because it really affects how you bring the data into whatever system you end up using. So that there's a lot of upfront work, and I think just really understanding that investment is key to setting yourself up for success. So really set those expectations up as well, right? We kind of I think we were overly ambitious in our timing, and it took a lot longer than we had hoped, but that's just reality. So I think those are my two pieces of advice. Sorry, I snuck two in.
No, that's great. And I saw there was some, we're going to go into breakout tables now for 15 minutes. There was one question in the chat for Nicole, and I'm sure other people would love to learn more from Nicole and Hieu. So if you'd like to request Hieu or Nicole join you in a table, you're welcome to pop that in the chat once you're in a table and you've got your table number type of thing. But I've got a discussion prompt for you as well as you meet in your group. What would you need at your organization to level up your measurement and reporting? And it's okay if you haven't started yet. You can also think about what would be needed to start collecting data, exactly as Nicole and Hieu just shared. Think about what your current context is and where you could start to collect and gather some pieces of information to move forward. So thank you so much, Nicole and Hieu, and congratulations to both of you for the hard work that you're doing. We're really excited to see as this expands and grows, and we'll be sharing some data maybe next year. Can't wait. More data. We've already got some data. More data. Awesome.
Thanks, Tori.
Thank you.